Hello, everybody. This is Deepthi. I'm head of customer experience at DQLabs. We are a data observability and data quality platform. I'm here with one of our customer, Sam Feld from Arch Insurance. He's going to take us through their journey, how transformative it has been throughout the last 1 year, I would say, into data observability and data quality. And Sam, if you want to give a quick introduction.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Sam Felt. I'm the head of data quality at Arch, as Deepthi said. So I've been in the insurance or London market for a number of years, probably 15 years now. But before that, I was a user of data in my previous life as an accountant. So I've been using data for 20 plus years. Know obviously how important it is. And yeah, my quick journey. I accidentally slipped and fell into data quality probably 15 years ago, where I got an entry-level job as a systems reconciliation analyst, and at the time, Solvency II was kind of snowballing and gathering momentum and all the regulations and controls that come with that. And then my data quality journey kind of started in anger and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the journey as it is, I know we talked a lot about data trust, and that's a pretty broad term.
Yeah.
So what specific dimensions of data trust did Arch kind of focus more on or prioritize more on, and why do you think that's more challenging in case of Arch?
So, I mean, all of they're all equally important, but the ones that kind of matter to our end users, our customers, are obviously the accuracy and the timeliness of data and the availability of data and the consistency of data as well. And just a bit of brief background, the London market especially, but insurance in general, is a challenging market to wrangle data in. London market especially, unless you're a forward-thinking company, you've got underwriters that literally sit in a box like the stock exchange. They're creating risks on bits of paper. They're passing those on to teams to enter into a legacy system, which obviously creates a trail and a minefield of data entry errors that can potentially arise. So the key ones for our kind of stakeholders are accuracy and completeness, because they then feed into all the other processes that rely on that data that's keyed in.
Absolutely. So having said that, I'm sure you have some kind of key indicators that signal you that, okay, you know what, the trust in data is really low. And what are those indicators for you?
I guess we're still maturing in our kind of KPI world, but it's the general business sense. So we've got some fairly robust kind of processes in place, and probably the number one metric that we use is the number of issues that have been raised across our data team. So you've got underwriters, claims examiners, exposure management, actuarial, which are obviously important for capital, etc. So we kind of tend to judge at the minute our metrics based on the volume of issues that have been raised, the severity of what they're being raised. Obviously, if it's a regulatory nature, so a lot of our returns are of regulatory nature because we're a financial institution. And yeah, so they're the kind of key metrics that we look on and kind of try and tick off as we're working through data issues and trying to come up with solutions to resolve those.
Yep. So this is more of from a technical journey perspective. How did you make sure this meets your business value? I mean, like, how do you translate your technical requirements into business outcomes, and how do you engage the business to be an adopter into this?
It's conversation. Like there's a lot of conversation involved in it. Obviously, our technical teams do a great job looking after the data that's in our systems. But as I said, that legacy problem of a lot of our data is still manually keyed in. There's only a few products that are done online, for example, that you can build a bit more control and robustness up front. But it's really working with those business stakeholders to understand what their pain points are, what data they use on a regular basis, and then how we can then start to monitor that and start to kind of build the improvement cycle off that.
Awesome. So now that you've built your process to kind of monitor these thresholds and everything, how did you integrate with DQLabs and take it from lacking trust or low trust to starting to get the trust from the business?
So fortunately, obviously, we're one of the more advanced kind of insurance companies out there. We've got a Snowflake platform. We've got DBT analytics for kind of upfront capture. But then integrating DQLabs into that Snowflake environment was really easy. Obviously, with you as a partner. But it gives us that ability to monitor stuff at scale and have the investigate data points where we wouldn't even normally have time to start investigating and realize that there are problems, and then from that you can start doing analytics off the back of that. You can start to report upwards on the kind of quality of your data to senior management, all because it's all tied into a central platform.
Yeah, and if you have to describe one use case that you thought was kind of giving you problems before when it comes to claims and everything, and now how you've converted that into a business value, if you can explain just one use case.
Yeah, I mean, well, the whole point of an insurance company essentially is to pay claims.
Yeah.
That is the nature of our business. That's why people trust us. And from that, you need to make sure that your claims data is right. So you need to make sure that you've got your right customer data. You need to make sure that your location data is right for your reserving, to make sure you're reserving enough money to pay your claims. And you've got your customer information, your broker information, dealing with third parties. So there's many clusters of kind of data consumers that then fan out into, like we try and describe it as like a honeycomb of a customer. So one process will impact a number of different teams, and really focusing on say, claims, for example, and all the different data points that are important to all the different areas that look into claims is quite vital.
Gotcha, absolutely. So now that you've improved your trust in general with the tools and process you've set up, how are you ensuring that you're going to maintain this trust going forward? Like what kind of, do you have any policies? Do you have any process that you laid out? Like what do you do?
No, so I was very fortunate. I've been at Arch for just over a year, but before my time, we'd had the data governance function that was quite well established by the time I joined. So our data policy and our data framework is at the heart of everything that we do. It stipulates the controls that we run in there, and again, being here today, there's a number of talks around data products, data contracts, which in other words are what we are trying to get to, which really help us identify what data is critical, how we need to measure it, what the standards are, what the metrics are that we need to apply. But yeah, so the data framework is at the heart of everything we do. That framework has roles and responsibilities. So we've got business data stewards who advise us from a business standpoint and own data from a business standpoint. We've got technical guys, some of which are here today, who own the kind of technical and the pipe work, who are phenomenal at what they do. And yeah, together it all kind of comes under the governance framework.
Yep, exactly. And if you have to give, like I said, from this point on, what's your journey into the future? Now that you've seen fruit coming out of the platform, so what's your journey into the future? Like, are you looking into like AI initiatives? How do you use DQLabs more to solve your business problems?
Yeah, I mean, so today we create measures or controls in tools based on known business problems, historic business problems that are already out there. But obviously the world as it is today, with AI as it is and machine learning, we want to get to a point, and I know that we've had conversations around like a tool that can write business rules itself, like going into the data where we haven't even got the bandwidth as a team or as a company to really investigate, but actually having an application that will dive into the data and start to analyze it for you and come up with suggestions and business controls is going to be really exciting.
Yep. And when you chose DQLabs for your data quality and observability solution, like what was the main thing that kind of got you into the DQLabs, I guess, like when you compare against other platforms that you've chosen? Like why?
I mean, obviously DQLabs is very technically advanced in terms of observability and profiling, which we are making use of, but I guess it's you guys. Like, without sucking up to anybody in the room, like we know what we're currently working on in terms of workflows and getting issues to users, which again, going back to the insurance industry, we've got teams of people whose job it is to physically enter data, and as part of that framework that we've established, like any issues that are raised on any of the controls that we write or create has to go back to the originator of that data. So working with you, being able to kind of combine that future thinking technology with the kind of grunt work and workflow is going to be really powerful.
Yep. So I think let's talk a little bit about the remediation in general, right? So now we've identified, the tool has identified issues for you, has given you access to what these issues are, and what's the process on the Arch side to handle that issues from a remediation standpoint?
So we have, as I said, we've got operational teams spread across the globe, servicing our offices, and they obviously have their own metrics, they have their own scores, and to date it's a very manual process. They extract, I think it's 10% of a daily or a weekly load of data, and they do spot checks, etc. But again, where we want to get to and where we are getting to with DQLabs and those operational teams are building in the process.
Yeah.
That means that we're not wasting time. We're not spot checking data that could be potentially right. We're actually checking and finding actual individual policy and claim issues with data, which is saving time. It's creating powerful kind of repercussions further downfield for those processes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, is there any guidance that you want to give to audience out there in your overall transformation, and what's your learnings and what not to do? People are doing it right now.
I mean, everybody's smarter than me in the room. I'm lucky to have I guess from a personal point of view, surround yourself with people that are invested as you and get excited as you. So I've got a great team of quality and data quality engineers that sit beside me. There's loads of other guys from a technical side, a business side. Really dive into those relationships, build those relationships, so you can understand the business pain points. You can understand how that data is actually formed and made up, and then you can combine the two. And using that kind of that relationship cycle has been vital for me personally, who's not an expert technically and not an expert in insurance, but know enough of both to be dangerous and to connect the two.
Awesome. So you've heard the journey that Arch have gone through, and Sam, if you were okay, you can take some questions from audience as it is.
There is any?
Any questions that you would like to ask Sam on his journey at all? Okay, I think that's good. Okay, but if
can you share one of the challenges you faced? I mean, I cannot believe that all stories are warm and nice and etc.
Yeah.
I'm sure you might have personally faced some challenges, and how you overcome those challenges in particular, so that we can take away.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is data. Like, with an insurance company, there's so much of it. Like from a policy, from a claim, from a reserve. Like every department produces and stores so much data, whether it be externally, whether it be hosted internally. So the initial challenge, or one of the biggest problems is I think we touched on it, is working out what you actually focus on, because you can't write a rule for everything. You can't monitor everything. But again, some of the great talks that I've been lucky enough to be part of today, having those products, the way the world is moving now with data products. So building a kind of, okay, these are our core data points for underwriting or for claims, for particular areas, and then really focusing on there. Okay, what are the key metrics for those data points, and working from there. Because I guess it's an expression you guys use, like boil the ocean.
Yep.
You can't boil the ocean, especially with an insurance company and the raft of data that we have coming out of everywhere.
Yep. And I would like to add another challenge as well. So in the insurance industry, the way people remediate issues is by a policy number. So when you get them the bad records, in that perspective, the hundreds of records, and you don't know who the policy owner is, it's kind of waste at that point. So we are working with Sam and Arch right now, how we can assign individual rows which are exceptions to the policy holder who can go fix the issue, instead of sending them a sample report to say, here you go, these are the issues, go fix them. So that's a bigger use case in the insurance industry, which we are partnering with Arch to kind of get that out of the door as part of DQLabs partnership with them. So.
It was quite a shock, wasn't it? Like when we first started talking about our needs and you coming on board, it was like, well, but we're going to create hundreds of issues every day, and it's like, yes, we need to, because as you said, each individual policy, each individual claim is treated on its own merit. It's an individual's policy and record, and it needs to be treated as such.
Absolutely. Yep. Any other questions? This one.
No, thank you so much. I have a question regarding, because you mentioned, I think, that you also have servers on-prem where you host data. So one of my primary questions is, when you partner with DQLabs in general, of course, as an insurance company, you have a lot of worries about kind of data privacy and kind of keeping that secure. So what were your challenges around kind of data transfer security, letting another company, let's say, access your data on-prem, and can you expand a bit more on that?
Yeah, no, it's a challenge, and luckily for me, it's a challenge that our data protection officer takes on more. But no, like we're quite mature in our kind of data masking and our data. The word's gone, but basically getting data signed up, like you only use the data for what you want to use it for, like, and we use Calibra for that, and we're starting to really invest in that. We're looking at other technologies around proper data masking and attribute masking and stuff, but no, we, being a financial service and with GDPR as it is, most companies really invest in data protection, and there are teams of people dedicated to making sure that we don't cross any lines with that. But
yeah, and first thing is we don't take data out of the on-prem into our SaaS at all. It's all push-down queries, so its data lies in on-premise. It doesn't come to DQLabs at all. So we're dealing with metadata here. Even for the exception requests, we push down the query to their preferred warehouse, which is Snowflake, for them to do perfect analysis. So we don't store any data as it is. And to Sam's point, once you mask the data, you can actually control the access by who can see the data even on top of masking. So with role-based access, we can control that. So.
Told you I wasn't a technical expert.
Any more questions? Okay. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for all the insights, and good luck for your future initiatives.
Thank you very much.